They thought I was asleep. That's the part that should have bothered me most. Not what they were doing, but how confident they were that I wouldn't know. Before we continue, we ask you to hit the hype button, subscribe, and like the video to help the channel grow. Tell us which city you are from in the comments. We would like to get to know our audience better. My name is Daniel Crowley. I'm 58 years old, and for the past 3 years, I've been slowly disappearing inside my own home. Not the way you might think. No dementia, no stroke, nothing poetic like that. Just chronic insomnia and a heart that skips beats whenever it feels like reminding me I'm mortal. The doctors called it arrhythmia. My son Tyler calls it dad's condition. My wife Victoria just calls it convenient. The pills started 2 years ago. Little blue ovals that promised 8 hours of dreamless sleep. The cardiologist said rest was critical. So every night at 10, Victoria would bring me the pill with a glass of water, watch me swallow, kiss my forehead like I was already a corpse, and turn off the light. And every night, within an hour, the apartment would come alive. I thought I was imagining it at first. Voices, music, footsteps, the creak of the front door, but the pills were strong, and by the time my brain registered something was wrong, I'd be pulled back under. Until the night I didn't swallow. It was a Thursday. Tyler had been particularly smug at dinner, talking about some business opportunity that was about to break wide open. He kept glancing at Victoria with this conspiratorial smile. When she brought the pill that night, I did what I'd done 1,000 times before. I put it in my mouth. I took the water. I tilted my head back. But instead of swallowing, I tucked it between my cheek and gum. She kissed my forehead and left. I waited until I heard her footsteps fade. Then I spit the pill into my palm and stared at it. The smart thing would have been to confront them right then. But I'd been a pilot for 32 years. You don't survive 3 decades in a cockpit by making impulsive decisions. You gather information, you assess, you wait, so I waited. At 10:47, I heard the apartment door opening. Not cautiously, confidently. The sound of someone who knew exactly how long those pills kept me under. Then voices. Male voices. Plural. I sat up slowly, my heart doing that stuttering thing. The bedroom door was closed, but not latched. Through the crack, I could see light spilling from the living room. Music started. Something with heavy bass. I should mention that we live in a pre-war building in the historic district. 6 rooms, high ceilings, original crown molding. My grandfather bought this place for $12,000. It's worth close to $4 million now. I know because Tyler reminds me every chance he gets. I got out of bed, moving like glass. I made it to the bedroom door and peered through. The living room looked like a nightclub. Tyler was sprawled on my leather couch. 3 other guys I didn't recognize were scattered around. Bottles on the coffee table, the good whiskey from the locked cabinet, and women, 2 of them. Young, dressed like they were working. Victoria was there too. That's the part that made my chest go tight. She wasn't hiding, she was participating, bringing out glasses, laughing, adjusting the music volume when it got too loud. I watched one of the women slide onto Tyler's lap. I watched my wife bring him another drink. I watched him take it without looking at her, like she was a servant. And then I heard it. Tyler was talking to one of his friends. "Just a little longer," he was saying. "Old man's heart won't last forever. Doctor gives him maybe 2 years, tops." The friend laughed. "And this place is yours?" "All of it." Tyler gestured around like a king. "Mom gets to stay, obviously, but it's in my name. We're just waiting for the inevitable." Victoria appeared with more ice. She didn't contradict him. She just smiled and said, "Daniel wouldn't want it sitting empty." "Daniel doesn't want anything," Tyler said. "He's halfway gone already. Might as well enjoy it while we can." The woman on his lap giggled. "Is he really asleep right now?" "Knocked out cold," Victoria answered. "He takes medication. Trust me, he's not waking up." I stood there in the dark hallway of my own home, watching my wife and son plan my funeral while I was still breathing. The pill was still in my hand, starting to dissolve. I closed my fist around it until my fingernails bit into my skin. They weren't trying to end me. That would have been easier to process. No, they were just waiting, counting down, making arrangements for my apartment, my money, my entire existence while I was still using it. I backed away from the door, made it to my bed, and sat down, listening to the muffled bass and laughter. My heart was hammering. Not the irregular skip of arrhythmia, but something stronger. Anger has a rhythm of its own. I looked at the dissolved remains of the pill, then I got up, went to the bathroom, and flushed it. When I came back to bed, I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling and listened to them party until almost 3 a.m. I heard them leave. I heard Victoria cleaning up, Bottles clinking, the vacuum running briefly, her footsteps checking that everything looked normal. She paused outside my bedroom door. For a moment, I thought she might come in, might check on me, might do something that resembled the woman I'd married 30 years ago. But she didn't. She just stood there, then walked away to the guest room where she'd been sleeping for the past year. When morning came, I stayed in bed until I heard her in the kitchen. Then I got up, put on my robe, and walked out. "Good morning," I said. She jumped slightly, then smiled. "Oh, you're up early. How did you sleep?" "Like the terminally ill," I said. She laughed, actually laughed. "Don't be morbid, Daniel. Coffee?" "Sure." I sat at the kitchen table and watched her pour. Her hands were steady. Her expression was pleasant. "Tyler was here last night," she said casually. "Stopped by to borrow some old books." "At 11 p.m.? You know how he is. Keeps odd hours." I nodded slowly. "Must have been quiet. I didn't hear a thing." "Well, that's the medication working. That's good, Daniel. You need rest." I took a sip. The coffee was perfect. Exactly how I liked it. She'd been making it for 3 decades. She knew everything about me, and she was counting the days until it stopped mattering. "I should see the lawyer this week," I said. "Update some paperwork." Her eyes flickered. "What kind of paperwork?" "Just documents, financial stuff." "Of course," she smiled. "Want me to come with you?" "No need, just routine." I went back to my room and pulled out my laptop. Started checking accounts, small transfers, nothing dramatic. 200 here, 500 there, scattered over 18 months, always to Tyler's account. Loan. Emergency. Medical assistance. I added them up. $12,000. Not enough to ruin me, just enough that they thought I wouldn't notice. I checked property records. The apartment was still solely in my name, but I found something else. Saved searches on my browser history. Real estate attorneys. Estate planning services. Transfer property after passing. My own computer, and they'd been planning my aftermath like a renovation project. I closed the laptop and sat there. Outside, the city was waking up. Inside, everything was very quiet. I pulled open my nightstand drawer and took out the bottle of sleeping pills, 60 tablets, enough for 2 months. I held the bottle and thought about that phrase Tyler had used. Halfway gone already. Then I dumped the entire bottle into the toilet and flushed. I wasn't halfway anywhere. I was right here. And I was going to make sure they knew it. The hard part wasn't pretending to take the pills. The hard part was pretending to be the same man who had been taking them. I'd spent 2 years in a pharmaceutical haze, and apparently I'd developed habits. I shuffled when I walked. I forgot names mid-conversation. I needed help opening jars. I said, "What?" A lot. Victoria and Tyler had gotten comfortable with this version of me. The diminished one. The one who was easier to dismiss. So I kept playing him. Friday morning, I shuffled into the kitchen and stared at the coffee maker like I'd forgotten how it worked. Victoria swooped in immediately. "Let me get that, honey." "Thanks," I mumbled. "Rough night." "The medication not working?" "No, it's working fine. Too fine, maybe. Feel like I'm swimming through concrete." She made a sympathetic noise and handed me coffee. I took it with slightly shaking hands and sat heavily at the table. "Maybe you should talk to the doctor," she suggested, "about adjusting the dosage." "Maybe." What I didn't say, I'd been to the doctor twice in the past year, and both times Victoria had insisted on coming. She'd sat in the examination room, answering questions before I could, describing my symptoms in terms that made me sound more impaired than I was. The doctor had looked at her, then at me, then increased my medication. I wondered now if that had been the point. Tyler showed up around noon. He had a key. I'd given it to him years ago, back when he was in college. Now he used it like he owned the place, which in his mind, he probably already did. "Hey, Dad." He dropped his gym bag by the door. "Mom around?" "Guest room, I think." He nodded and started to walk past me, then paused. "You look rough. You okay?" "Tired." "You're always tired." He said it like stating a fact about the weather. I watched him disappear down the hallway, heard him knock on Victoria's door, heard the low murmur of their voices. Too quiet for words, but the tone was clear. Conspiratorial. I got up slowly and moved toward the hallway, timing my footsteps to sound heavy and uncertain. "Talked to the attorney yet?" Tyler's voice. "He mentioned it this morning." Victoria, lower. "Said he wants to update paperwork." "That's good. That means he's being responsible, thinking ahead. Or he suspects something." A pause. Then Tyler laughed. "Dad? Suspect something? Look at him. He can barely remember what day it is. Still, we should be careful." "We are being careful. The parties stop at 3, you clean everything. He sleeps through it all. It's perfect." I just don't want him getting suspicious before. Before what? Before nature takes its course? Mom, his heart's a time bomb. The doctor said so. We're not doing anything wrong. We're just preparing. I heard movement, backed away quickly, returning to my chair in the kitchen. Tyler emerged a moment later, Victoria behind him. Dad, I'm going to head out, Tyler said. You need anything? No, I'm fine. Okay, see you Sunday for dinner? Sure. He left. Victoria busied herself at the sink, washing dishes that were already clean. I watched her for a moment, then spoke. He's a good boy. She turned, surprised. What? Tyler. He's a good son. Checks in on us. Makes time for dinner. Her expression softened into something almost sad. Yes, he is. I'm lucky, I said, to have both of you. She came over and kissed the top of my head. We're the lucky ones, Daniel. I smiled up at her, let my eyes go a little glassy, a little distant, the look of someone whose mind was starting to slip. She squeezed my shoulder and walked away. The moment she was gone, I pulled out my phone, the old one I'd claimed not to know how to use properly, and made a note. Sunday dinner. They're comfortable. They think they've won. I had 4 days to prepare. That afternoon, I told Victoria I was going for a walk. She looked concerned. I hadn't gone for a walk alone in months. Are you sure? What if you get dizzy? I'll stay close. Just around the block. Doctor said I should exercise. Well, okay. But take your phone and call if you need me. I will. I left the apartment and walked 3 blocks to a payphone. Yes, they still exist if you know where to look. I fed it quarters and dialed the number I'd memorized from my laptop search. Reichman and Associates. How may I direct your call? I need to speak with someone about estate planning, urgently. 1 moment, please. The hold music was classical. Violin concerto. I watched people walk past on the sidewalk. Businessmen, students, mothers with strollers. Normal people living normal lives, not realizing that the old man at the payphone was about to rewrite his entire future. This is Janet Reichman. How can I help you? My name is Daniel Crowley. I need to change my will, and I need to do it without my family knowing. There was a brief pause. I see. Can you come to my office Monday at 2? Yes. And Mr. Crowley, don't discuss this with anyone. Don't make notes at home. Don't search anything on your computer. If you need to contact me, use this payphone. Do you understand? Perfectly. Good. I'll see you Monday. I hung up and stood there for a moment, catching my breath. My heart was racing, the arrhythmia acting up. But this time it felt good, like my body was finally catching up to what my mind had already decided. I walked back to the apartment slowly, let myself look tired when I came in. Victoria was watching television. How was your walk? Good, tiring. Why don't you rest before dinner? I think I will. I went to my room and closed the door. I sat on the edge of the bed and pulled out a small notepad I'd hidden in my sock drawer, the one place Victoria never looked because she hadn't done my laundry in 2 years. I wrote, Monday 2 p.m. Attorney, don't tell anyone. Then I tore out the page, folded it, and put it in my wallet. At dinner, Tyler called. Victoria put him on speaker. Hey, just confirming for Sunday, 6 o'clock? 6 is perfect, Victoria said. How's Dad? He's right here. Daniel, Tyler wants to say hello? I looked up from my plate. Hello, son. Hey, Dad, you good? Just fine. Looking forward to Sunday. Great. Me too. Love you. Love you too. Victoria hung up. We ate in silence for a while. Then she spoke. You seem better today, more alert. I looked at her. Do I? Yes, it's nice. Maybe the medication is finally working right. She smiled. Maybe so. That night, she brought me the pill at 10. I put it in my mouth, swallowed water, and held it under my tongue. She kissed my forehead and left. I spit it into my hand and flushed it. Then I lay in bed and waited for them to start. But they didn't come that night. No music, no voices, no laughter, just silence. It made sense. Tyler had been here earlier. They didn't need to party every night, just often enough, just confidently enough. I stared at the ceiling and thought about Sunday dinner, about Monday's appointment, about the look on their faces when they finally understood. For the first time in 2 years, I fell asleep without medication, and I slept beautifully. The weekend passed in careful performance. I shuffled, I forgot things, I let Victoria help me with tasks I could have done myself. Saturday night, they had another party, smaller this time, just Tyler and one friend, one woman. I listened from my bed and counted the hours. They left at 2. Sunday morning, Victoria made breakfast and talked about Tyler coming over for dinner. "He's bringing wine," she said. "The expensive kind." "That's nice of him." "He's very thoughtful." I nodded and ate my eggs. Thought about the word thoughtful and what it actually meant coming from her mouth. Monday morning, I told her I had a doctor's appointment. "What? You didn't tell me. I'll come with you." "It's nothing complicated, just some lab work. There's no reason for you to wait around in the lobby for 2 hours." "Daniel, I always come with you. And I appreciate it. But it's boring, and I know you have things to do. I'll be fine." She looked uncertain. "Are you sure?" "Positive. I'll take a taxi there and back. Easy." "Well, if you're sure." "I am." At 1:30, I left the apartment, told the doorman I was going to the doctor, walked 2 blocks and hailed a cab to an address in Midtown. The office of Reichman and Associates was on the 14th floor of a building with marble floors and brass fixtures, the kind of place that charged by the hour and earned every cent. The receptionist smiled when I gave my name. "Mr. Crowley, Ms. Reichman is expecting you. Conference room 2. Janet Reichman was younger than I expected, maybe 40, with sharp eyes and a handshake that meant business. She gestured to a chair and sat across from me. "Tell me everything," she said. So I did. I told her about the pills, the parties, the conversations I'd overheard, the money transfers, the browser history, the way my wife and son talked about me like I was already gone. She listened without interrupting, took notes on a yellow legal pad. When I finished, she sat back and looked at me. "Mr. Crowley, I'm going to be very direct. What you're describing is financial elder manipulation and possible conspiracy. You could pursue legal action." "I don't want legal action. I want to rewrite my will." "Then let's talk about what you want instead of what they expect." I pulled out the piece of paper I'd been carrying. On it, I'd written one name, Evan Crowley. "My nephew, he's 22, good kid. I helped put him through college after his father passed. Tyler doesn't know him well. They've met maybe twice. And you want everything to go to him? The apartment, the money in my personal accounts, everything I own that's solely in my name. What about your wife? What about her?" Janet's expression didn't change. In this state, a spouse has certain rights, but if you're legally separated or can prove financial manipulation, we can work around it. Are you willing to take steps? "Whatever steps are necessary," she nodded. "Then we'll structure it carefully. Create a trust with Evan as the sole beneficiary. Transfer the apartment deed to the trust. Your existing accounts will have beneficiary designations that override any will, and will include a no contest clause. If anyone challenges this, they get nothing." "How long will it take?" "With your cooperation? 2 weeks, maybe 3. I'll need access to all your financial documents, deed to the apartment, account numbers, everything." "I can get those." "Without your wife noticing?" "She thinks I barely remember my own name. She won't be watching." Janet smiled slightly. "Then let's get started." We spent the next 2 hours going through paperwork. She explained everything, how trusts worked, how beneficiary designations functioned, how to make sure the will was uncontestable. She made copies of my ID, my marriage license, the apartment deed I'd brought from the safe. "One more thing," I said as we finished. "I want to leave something that looks like Tyler inherits. Fake documents. Something they might find that makes them think they've won." She raised an eyebrow. "That's devious." "They've been planning my funeral for 2 years. I think I'm entitled to a little theater." "Fair enough. I'll draft something. You can leave it somewhere they'll find it after you." "Well, after." "Perfect." I left her office at 4:30, took a cab to a medical building, got out, waited 15 minutes, then took another cab home. Victoria was cooking when I walked in, something with garlic and tomatoes. "How was the doctor?" "All right. The lab results came back normal." "That's wonderful. See, you're doing much better." "Must be all the rest I'm getting." She smiled and stirred the sauce. "Tyler will be here soon. Why don't you freshen up?" I went to my room and changed shirts, looked at myself in the mirror. I looked old, there was no denying that. Gray hair, lines around my eyes, the slight stoop that came from years of bad posture. But my eyes were clear, alert. They'd been waiting for me to fade. Instead, I was waking up. Tyler arrived at 6 with 2 bottles of wine and his characteristic swagger. He hugged Victoria, clapped me on the shoulder, and settled into the living room like he owned it. Dinner was pleasant. We talked about nothing: Tyler's gym routine, Victoria's book club, the weather, normal family conversation, the kind that would have seemed perfectly nice to anyone listening who didn't know what I knew. As we ate dessert, Tyler brought up the apartment. "You know, Dad, I was thinking, This place is a lot for you and Mom to maintain. Ever consider downsizing? Victoria shot him a look. Tyler. No, I'm serious. Think about it. You're both getting older. Stairs, upkeep, property taxes. It's a lot. Maybe a nice condo somewhere, something easier. I set down my fork. You want me to sell? I'm just saying, it might be easier, for everyone. The apartment has been in our family for 3 generations. I know, and that's great. But practically speaking... Tyler, enough. Victoria's voice was sharp. Not now. He held up his hands. Just trying to help. I looked at him. Really looked at him. At 27, he looked like a younger version of me. Same jaw, same build, but there was something in his eyes I'd never seen in my own mirror. Entitlement. The certainty that the world owed him something. I appreciate your concern, I said quietly, but I'm not ready to leave my home yet. Of course. I just meant, eventually. Eventually, I agreed. After dinner, Tyler left. Victoria cleaned up while I sat in the living room, pretending to doze in my chair. I heard her on the phone in the kitchen, voice low. He's being stubborn about the apartment. I know. Tyler, he's not going to sell willingly. We just have to wait. I opened one eye slightly, watched her through the doorway, phone pressed to her ear. I don't know. A year, maybe? The doctor wasn't specific. Yes, I know it's frustrating, but we can't rush this. I'll keep you updated. Love you too. She hung up, stood there for a moment with her hand on the counter, her back to me. Then she turned, saw me sleeping, and smiled. Daniel, time for bed. I let her help me up, let her guide me to the bedroom like I was fragile. She brought the pill and water. Good night, honey. Good night. I took the pill, held it under my tongue, and let her leave. Then I spit it out and smiled in the darkness. 2 weeks, Janet had said. I could wait 2 weeks. They'd been waiting 2 years. It was only fair. The next 2 weeks were the longest performance of my life. Every morning I played confused. Every evening I pretended to need help. Victoria watched me with increasing satisfaction, and Tyler's visits became more frequent. He was measuring the apartment with his eyes, mentally rearranging furniture, planning his future kingdom. Meanwhile, I was systematically destroying that future. Wednesday, I went to the bank, told Victoria I needed to update my account information. She offered to come. I insisted I was fine. The bank manager, a woman named Patricia who'd known me for 15 years, took one look at my face and led me to a private office. Mr. Crowley, is everything all right? I need to change all my beneficiaries, today. Of course, let me pull up your accounts. It took an hour. Checking account, savings, investment portfolio, retirement fund. Every single one had listed Victoria as primary beneficiary, Tyler as secondary. I changed them all to Evan. Are you certain? Patricia asked. This is a significant change. I've never been more certain of anything. She processed the paperwork, printed copies for me. These are legally binding as of today. They override any will. Perfect. I left the bank with the documents in my jacket pocket. Stopped at a copy shop, made duplicates, and mailed one set to Janet's office. Kept the others hidden in my sock drawer. Thursday, I called Evan. Used the payphone again. I was getting good at this cloak and dagger routine. Uncle Daniel? Is everything okay? Everything's fine. How's school? Good. Finals next week. That's great, son. Listen, I need to ask you something. Do you have a safe place to keep important documents? Somewhere private? A pause. Yeah. Why? You're going to receive some papers in the mail in the next few weeks. Don't open them unless something happens to me, and don't tell anyone about them, especially not Tyler or your aunt. Can you do that? Another pause, longer this time. Uncle Daniel, are you in trouble? No, I'm just being careful. Can you do what I asked? Of course, but thank you, Evan. That's all I needed to know. Good luck on your finals. I hung up before he could ask more questions. Friday, Janet called my cell, the number I'd given her specifically for this. Everything's ready. I need you to come in and sign. Monday? Perfect. 2 o'clock again? I'll be there. That weekend was quiet. Tyler came by Saturday afternoon, but no party. Just him and Victoria in the kitchen, talking in low voices. I pretended to nap in the living room and listened. The attorney thing bothers me, Tyler was saying. Why would he suddenly need to update paperwork? He's probably just being responsible. You know how he is about documents. Or he suspects something. Tyler, look at him. He barely knows what day it is. Then why is he suddenly going to appointments alone? Why not let you come? Because he's stubborn. He's always been stubborn. A pause. Maybe we should slow down. No more parties for a while. Agreed. Let's just wait. We've been waiting. A little longer won't hurt. I heard Tyler sigh. Fine, but I'm tired of tiptoeing around. This is taking forever. His heart won't last forever. The doctor said 2 years. That was 6 months ago. So we have 18 months left, maybe. I can wait 18 months? Good. Then we wait. They changed subjects, talked about something else. I lay there and smiled into the couch cushion. 18 months. They'd actually set a timeline. I wondered what they'd do when I was still here in 18 months, still breathing, still living in my apartment, still ruining their plans just by existing. Monday came. I went through the same routine. Told Victoria I had another appointment, took a taxi to Midtown, met with Janet. She had everything ready. The trust document was 40 pages long. She went through it section by section. This creates an irrevocable trust with Evan as sole beneficiary. The apartment deed transfers to the trust. Your investment accounts already list him as beneficiary. The trust includes a no-contest clause. If anyone challenges it, they forfeit any claim to your estate. What about life insurance? Do you have a policy? Yes, $500,000. Victoria is the beneficiary. We can't change that without her signature. But honestly, it's worth leaving her something. It makes the rest less contestable. If she gets the insurance, she can't claim you left her destitute. Fine. She can have it. $500,000 to grieve with. Janet smiled slightly. You're angrier than you seem. I'm a pilot. We don't show anger. We show control. Well, you're certainly showing control now. Sign here, here, and here. I signed. My signature was steady. Each stroke of the pen felt like justice. One more thing, Janet said. She handed me a manila folder. The fake documents you requested. These show Tyler inheriting the apartment and 75% of your assets. They look official, but have subtle errors. Wrong notary stamp, incorrect legal language. If anyone challenges them, they'll fall apart immediately. Perfect. Where should I leave them? Somewhere obvious, but not too obvious. A desk drawer, a file cabinet, somewhere they'd look after you pass. I know just the place. I left her office with the fake documents and the real trust papers. Went home, put the real papers in my safe deposit box at the bank, put the fake ones in my desk drawer, inside a folder labeled Estate Planning. When Victoria checked in about the visit, I told her it was fine. My pressure levels were good, and the doctor was happy with the results. She smiled and kissed my cheek. That's wonderful, honey. I'm so glad. That night, she brought me the pill. I pretended to swallow it. She left. I flushed it. And then I lay in bed and thought about the look on their faces when they found out. Tyler would be furious. The apartment was his prize, his future, his inheritance. Without it, he was just a 27-year-old with no job, no prospects, and a sense of entitlement the size of Manhattan. Victoria would be shocked. She'd spent 2 years playing the dutiful wife, bringing me pills, cleaning up after Tyler's parties, counting down the days, and in the end, she'd get an insurance payout and nothing else. But Evan would get everything. The apartment, the money, the future I'd built for 3 decades. And he'd never even know why until I was gone. I thought about calling him again, explaining. But no, that would ruin it. The surprise was part of the point. Let him get the call from Janet's office. Let him learn what his uncle had done for him. Let him understand that loyalty meant something. I rolled over and closed my eyes. For the first time in 2 years, I felt like I could breathe. 3 weeks passed in careful routine. I continued my performance. The shuffling walk, the confused expressions, the need for help with simple tasks. Victoria and Tyler grew more comfortable, more confident. Tyler stopped coming by as often, now that the parties had ended. He was probably getting bored with waiting. Good. Let him get bored. Let him think he had all the time in the world. I spent my mornings going through old photo albums when Victoria wasn't looking. Pictures of Tyler as a kid, little league games, birthday parties, the day he graduated high school. I tried to remember when things changed, when he went from being my son to being someone who counted down my remaining days like a financial investment. I couldn't pinpoint it exactly. Maybe there wasn't one moment. Maybe it was gradual. The way he stopped calling unless he needed money, the way his visits became shorter and more perfunctory, the way he looked at the apartment like it was already his. One morning, Victoria found me looking at the photos. "What are you doing?" "Just remembering." She came closer, saw which album I had opened. "Oh, Tyler's 10th birthday. He was so excited about that bicycle. I taught him to ride it, spent 3 weekends in the park, running alongside him until he got his balance. You were a good father. Were? She blinked. Are. You are a good father. I closed the album. Am I? Of course. Why would you ask that? Just thinking about legacy, what we leave behind, whether it matters. She touched my shoulder. You're not leaving anything behind anytime soon. We all leave eventually. Daniel, don't talk like that. You're doing well. The medication is helping. Your heart is stable. I nodded. You're right. I'm just melancholy today. She kissed the top of my head. Why don't you rest? I'll make lunch in an hour. After she left, I looked at the photo album again. Tyler at 10, grinning at the camera with his new bicycle. I wondered if he remembered those weekends, if he remembered me running alongside him, catching him when he fell, teaching him balance. Probably not. People forget the past when they're focused on inheriting the future. That afternoon, I went to the building manager's office. His name was George, and he'd been running this building since before I moved in. Mr. Crowley, what can I do for you? I need to make some changes to my emergency contact information. Sure thing. What do you want to change? Remove my son and wife. Add my nephew instead. George looked surprised. Remove your wife? Yes. I want Evan Crowley as my primary contact. I'll give you his number. Is everything all right? Everything's fine. Just updating information. He nodded slowly and pulled up my file on his computer. Okay, what's the nephew's number? I gave it to him. He typed it in, printed out a new form, and had me sign it. This means if there's an emergency in your apartment, fire, medical, anything, we call him first. Perfect. Your wife's not going to be happy about this. She doesn't need to know. George looked at me for a long moment. Then he nodded. Your building, your rules, it's done. I thanked him and left. It was a small change, but it mattered. One more string cut. One more connection severed. That evening, Tyler called. Victoria put him on speaker during dinner. Hey, just checking in. How are you guys? We're good, Victoria said. Your father's been very nostalgic today, looking at old photos. Oh yeah? That's nice. How are you, son? I asked. I'm great, Dad. Actually, I wanted to ask you something. There's this investment opportunity. It's really good, but I need some capital. I was thinking maybe you could help me out? Victoria's eyes flickered toward me. How much? I asked. 20,000. I know it's a lot, but this could really pay off. I'll pay you back with interest. Tyler, Victoria started. It's fine, I said. 20,000 for an investment. Exactly. I'll send you the details. This could be huge, Dad. I'm sure it could. Let me think about it. Okay, but don't think too long. The opportunity won't last forever. After we hung up, Victoria looked at me. You're not actually going to give it to him, are you? Why not? He's my son. Daniel, you need that money for medical expenses, for care, for after I'm gone? She stopped. I didn't say that. But you thought it. I just mean you should be careful. 20,000 is a lot of money. It is, which is why I'm going to think about it. I didn't tell her I'd already thought about it, that the answer was no, that Tyler wasn't getting another cent from me, that every dollar I had was already spoken for, already designated for someone who actually deserved it. Let him wait for my answer. Let him think I was considering it. Let him hope. Hope made the disappointment so much sharper. That night, I didn't even pretend to take the pill, just palmed it immediately and put it in my pocket. Victoria kissed me goodnight and left. I got up, went to the bathroom, and flushed it. Then I went to my desk and pulled out the fake estate documents. Looked at them. They were beautiful in their deception. They said exactly what Tyler and Victoria wanted them to say, that everything was going to them, that their patience would be rewarded, that waiting for me to fade had been the right strategy all along. I put them back in the drawer and smiled. A month after signing the real documents, I started feeling stronger. Not physically. My heart was still unpredictable, my energy still limited, but mentally. Knowing I'd taken back control changed something fundamental. I walked a little straighter, spoke a little clearer, looked Victoria in the eye a little longer. She noticed. You seem different lately, she said one morning over coffee. Different how? More alert, more yourself. Maybe I'm getting better. Maybe. Or maybe the medication is finally working properly. I smiled. Maybe. But I could see it bothered her. The more coherent I became, the less comfortable she was. She'd gotten used to the confused version of me, the one who needed help, who asked the same questions twice, who shuffled around like a ghost in his own home. This version, the one who made eye contact and remembered conversations, was harder to dismiss. Tyler noticed too. He came by one Saturday afternoon and found me reading the newspaper, actually reading it, not just staring at it. "Hey, Dad, what's interesting?" "Politics. It's always interesting." "I thought you stopped following politics." "I never said that." He sat down across from me, studied my face. "You look good. Better than you have in a while." "Thank you." "So, about that investment opportunity. Have you thought about it?" "I have." "And?" "The answer is no." His face tightened. "Why not?" "Because you don't need $20,000 for an investment. You need it to pay off whatever you've gotten yourself into." "That's not—" "Tyler, I was your age once. I know what desperation looks like. I also know what entitlement looks like. You have both." He stood up. "That's not fair. Neither is asking your terminally ill father for money when you've already helped yourself to $12,000 over the past 2 years. His face went pale. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yes, you do. Small transfers. 200 here, 500 there. You thought I wouldn't notice. Or maybe you thought I was too far gone to care." "Dad, I'm not giving you any more money, now or ever. If you need $20,000, get a job." He stared at me for a long moment. Then he turned and walked out without another word. Victoria came in a few minutes later. "What happened?" "Tyler just left. He looked upset." "He asked for money. I said no." "Oh, well, maybe that's for the best." "Is it?" She didn't answer. Just went back to the kitchen, and I went back to my newspaper. That night, I didn't hear any parties. No music, no voices, no laughter. The apartment was silent except for the normal sounds. Pipes settling, the refrigerator humming, the distant wail of sirens from the street below. I wondered if they'd stopped permanently or if they were just being cautious. Either way, it didn't matter. I'd already won. They just didn't know it yet. 2 weeks later, my heart gave me a genuine scare. I was walking to the bathroom when it started, the irregular stutter, then a sharp pain in my chest. I made it to the toilet before I collapsed, sitting down hard on the closed lid, breathing through the pain. Victoria found me there 10 minutes later. "Daniel. Oh my God, Daniel." "I'm fine. Just a spell." "You're gray. We need to call an ambulance." "No, just help me to bed. It's passing." "Daniel." "Victoria, please." She helped me to the bedroom, laid me down, got me water, sat on the edge of the bed and watched me with an expression I couldn't quite read. "This is serious," she said quietly. "Your heart." "I know what it is." "Maybe it's time to talk about arrangements." "Arrangements?" "For when things get worse. Care facilities, medical power of attorney, that kind of thing." I looked at her, really looked at her. "You want to talk about moving me to a facility?" "Not now, but eventually, if things progress." "You mean when I get worse?" "Yes." I nodded slowly. "I see." "Daniel, I'm just being practical. We have to think about these things." "You're right. We do." She squeezed my hand. "I know this is hard, but we'll get through it together." "Together," I repeated. After she left, I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. The pain in my chest had faded to a dull ache. My heart was still doing its irregular dance, but I was used to it by now. I'd lived with this condition for 3 years. I knew its rhythms, its warnings, its limitations. I also knew I wasn't getting worse. The episode had been real. The pain, the irregular beats, the moment of weakness. But it wasn't progression. It was stress. And stress had a specific cause. Maintaining this performance 24 hours a day, pretending to be weaker than I was, playing the role of a man waiting to fade. I was tired of performing, but I only had to keep it up a little longer, just until the right moment. The moment when I could stop pretending and show them exactly what I'd done. The next morning, Victoria called Tyler. I listened from my bedroom as she spoke in low, urgent tones. "He had an episode last night. His heart. I know. We need to talk about next steps. No, he doesn't want a facility. But we might not have a choice. Soon. Maybe a few months. Maybe less." I heard her hang up. Heard her footsteps approaching my bedroom. I closed my eyes and pretended to be asleep. She opened the door quietly, stood there for a moment, then closed it and walked away. I opened my eyes and smiled. A few months, she'd said. Maybe less. They were still waiting, still counting down. And I was still here, getting stronger every day, planning the moment when their countdown would reach 0 and they'd discover they'd been waiting for nothing. Spring arrived. The city warmed up. Trees bloomed in the park 3 blocks away. and my $60,000 secret sat in a safe deposit box, waiting. I started going for walks again. Real walks, not just around the block. Victoria protested at first, but I insisted. The doctor said exercise was good for my heart, I lied. She couldn't argue with that. The truth was, I needed to get out, needed to move, needed to feel like a person instead of a prisoner in my own home. And I needed to visit places Victoria couldn't follow, like the courthouse where I filed additional paperwork to protect the trust, like the hospital where I got a comprehensive cardiac workup and learned that, despite everything, my heart was stable. Not great, but not actively failing either. Like Evans College, where I showed up unannounced and took my nephew to lunch. He was shocked to see me. "Uncle Daniel, what are you doing here?" "I was in the neighborhood. Thought we could eat." "Of course. Yeah, let me just..." He grabbed his jacket, and we walked to a small Italian place off campus. Over pasta, I studied him. He looked like his father, my younger brother, who'd passed 5 years ago. Same kind eyes, same quiet demeanor. Nothing like Tyler's arrogance or Victoria's calculating patience. "How's school?" I asked. "Good. Really good, actually. I'm thinking about graduate school, but I don't know how I'll afford it." "You'll figure it out. You're smart. Thanks to you. I wouldn't have made it this far without your help." I nodded. "Evan, do you remember what I told you about those documents?" "The ones you sent?" "Yeah. They're in my safe deposit box. Haven't opened them." "Good. Don't open them unless something happens to me, and when you do open them, don't feel guilty." He looked confused. "Guilty about what?" "Just don't. Promise me." "Uncle Daniel, what's going on?" "Nothing's going on. I'm just making sure things are in order." "Are you okay, health-wise?" "I'm fine. Better than everyone thinks." He studied me, concerned. "If you need anything." "I don't. But thank you. Just knowing you're out here, living your life, being a good person, that's enough." We finished lunch. I paid the bill. He walked me back to the subway station. "Tell Aunt Victoria I said hello," he offered. "I will." I wouldn't. Victoria had barely mentioned Evan in years. To her, he was irrelevant, just some nephew who'd needed help with college. She had no idea he was about to become the most important person in our family's financial future. When I got home, Victoria was waiting. "Where were you?" "Out. Walking." "For 4 hours?" "I had lunch, sat in the park, lost track of time." She looked suspicious but didn't push. "Tyler called. He wants to come by tomorrow." "Fine. He said he wants to talk to you about something important." "I'm sure he does." Tyler showed up at noon the next day with an envelope. He sat down across from me in the living room and put it on the coffee table. "What's this?" I asked. "An opportunity. A real one this time. I know you said no before, but I want you to look at this." I opened the envelope. Inside were glossy brochures for a care facility. Sunset Living Community. Elegant rooms, 24-hour medical staff, activities, and social programs. I looked up at him. "You want me to move to a nursing home?" "It's not a nursing home. It's assisted living." "Look at it, Dad. It's nice. They have everything you'd need. And Mom could visit whenever she wants." "Mom could visit?" "Yeah. It would be easier for her. She wouldn't have to worry about you all the time, and you'd have professional care. People who know how to handle your condition." I set the brochures down carefully. "I see." "Just think about it. I already scheduled a tour for next week, Thursday at 2. I'll drive you." "You scheduled a tour?" "Yeah, just to look. No pressure." I nodded slowly. "And what happens to the apartment?" "What do you mean?" "If I move out, what happens to it?" Tyler glanced at Victoria, who'd appeared in the doorway. "Well, it would stay in the family. Mom might move somewhere smaller. Eventually, we'd probably sell it, but that's way down the line." "Eventually." "Dad, you're not going to live forever. None of us are. And this place is a lot of work, a lot of expenses. It makes sense to plan ahead." I stood up. My heart was doing its irregular skip, but this time it wasn't from weakness. It was from rage. "Get out." "What?" "Get out of my apartment. Take your brochures and your tour and your plans and get out." "Dad, I'm just trying to help." "You're trying to warehouse me so you can get your hands on this place. You've been trying to do that for 2 years. I'm not blind, Tyler. I'm not senile. And I'm not going anywhere." His face hardened. "You can't take care of yourself." "I'm taking care of myself right now by telling you to leave." Victoria stepped forward. "Daniel, you're upset. Let's all calm down." "I am calm. I'm the calmest I've been in years. Because I finally see everything clearly." "See what?" Tyler demanded. "That you've been waiting for me to disappear so you can take what's mine. Both of you." Silence. Complete, absolute silence. Then Victoria spoke, her voice cold. That's not fair. Isn't it? Tell me, Victoria. When exactly did you start giving me those pills every night? Who suggested it? You or Tyler? She paled. The doctor prescribed them. The doctor prescribed them after you told him I wasn't sleeping, after you exaggerated my symptoms, after you convinced him I needed sedation. That's not... And you, Tyler, when was the last time you visited me because you wanted to see me, not because you wanted to check on your investment? He didn't answer. That's what I thought. Now get out. Both of you. Tyler grabbed the brochures. You're going to regret this. I doubt it. He stormed out. Victoria stayed, her face a mask of shock and anger. Daniel, what has gotten into you? Clarity. Now leave. I need to rest. This is my home too. No, it's my home. You just live here. And right now, I want you to leave me alone. She opened her mouth, closed it, then turned and walked away. I sat back down, breathing hard. My hands were shaking, not from weakness, but from adrenaline, from finally saying everything I'd been holding back for so long. The performance was over, the mask was off, and they finally knew I was on to them. Now I just had to wait for them to make their next move. The next 2 weeks were tense. Victoria barely spoke to me. Tyler didn't visit or call. They were regrouping, probably consulting lawyers, trying to figure out how to handle a Daniel Crowley who was suddenly alert and uncooperative. Good. Let them scramble. Let them panic. I spent the time putting the final pieces in place. I met with Janet one more time to confirm everything was locked tight. She assured me it was. They can't contest this, she said. The trust is irrevocable. The deed is transferred. The beneficiaries are designated. Even if they try to claim you were incompetent when you signed, we have documentation of your mental state. Medical records showing you were alert and capable. Your bank manager's testimony, the building manager's statement. You've covered every angle. And the fake documents? Still in your desk drawer? Yes. Perfect. They'll find those first. Probably throw a party. Then reality hits. I smiled. How long does probate take? In this state, with a trust this clean, 4 to 6 weeks. Evan will have access to everything within 2 months of your passing. Good. Mr. Crowley, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you have any regrets? I thought about it. No. They made their choice. I'm just making mine. Fair enough. I left her office and went home. Victoria was in the living room watching television. She looked up when I came in. Where were you? Out. Daniel, we need to talk. Do we? Yes. About what happened with Tyler. About your accusations. I sat down across from her. What about them? They were unfair and hurtful. Tyler loves you. I love you. We've been trying to help. Help me into a care facility. Help you be comfortable, safe. You're not well, Daniel. Your heart? My heart is fine. I had it checked 2 weeks ago. Full workup. The doctor said it's stable. She blinked. You went to the doctor without telling me? I don't need your permission to see my own doctor. I always come with you. Not anymore. She stood up, agitated. What is going on with you? You're different. You're angry. You're paranoid. I'm awake. What? I stopped taking the pills, Victoria, 3 months ago. I've been awake for everything. Her face went white. What do you mean? I mean, I've heard the parties, seen the guests, listened to you and Tyler planning my exit strategy. I know everything. She sat down slowly. Daniel, I'm not finished. I also know about the money Tyler's been taking. I know about the browser searches for estate attorneys. I know you've been telling people I'm worse than I am, and I know you're waiting for me to pass so you can move on with your comfortable, guilt-free life. Tears formed in her eyes. Real ones or fake? I couldn't tell anymore. It's not like that. Then what is it like? You've been so hard to live with. The insomnia, the mood swings, the neediness. I've been doing my best, but it's exhausting. Tyler was just trying to help me cope. By throwing parties in my living room while I was unconscious? They weren't parties. They were just Tyler visiting with friends. With escorts. She flinched. I didn't approve of that. But you enabled it. You cleaned up afterward. You kept the noise down. You made sure I stayed asleep. Because you needed sleep. I needed respect. I needed my wife to be my partner, not my warden. And instead, you've been counting the days until you can redecorate. She wiped her eyes. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, Victoria, but it is just, and justice is coming. What does that mean? It means I've made arrangements, preparations. And when the time comes, you're going to find out exactly what happens to people who wait for others to pass. I stood up and walked to my bedroom. She didn't follow. That night, I didn't even pretend to take a pill. I just went to bed, lay there in the darkness, listened to her moving around the apartment, her footsteps hesitant, uncertain. Around midnight, I heard her on the phone. The walls were thin enough that her voice carried. He knows everything. I don't know how. He stopped taking the medication. Tyler, he's been awake for months. What do we do? A long pause. No, we can't do that. That's illegal. I don't care. We can't. Tyler, listen to me. We wait. We stay calm. He's still sick. His heart is still bad. We just wait. Another pause. I'm not saying that. I'm saying nature will take its course. It always does. She hung up. I heard her crying softly in the living room. I didn't feel bad for her. Sympathy requires innocence, and she'd lost that the first night she watched Tyler party in my living room while I lay sedated in the next room. I rolled over and went to sleep. 3 weeks later, Victoria announced they wanted to have a family meeting. About what? I asked. About the future, about arrangements, about making sure we're all on the same page. I see. And Tyler will be there? Yes, Saturday afternoon. He thinks it would be good if we all sat down together, calmly, like adults. Like adults? Daniel, please, we're still a family. I nodded slowly. Fine. Saturday afternoon. When Saturday came, Tyler arrived at 2 o'clock sharp. He looked nervous, at first. He'd never been nervous around me before. We sat in the living room, the three of us. Victoria poured coffee nobody wanted. Tyler cleared his throat. Dad, I want to apologize for how I've acted, for what I've said, for not being a better son. Okay. I've been selfish. I've been thinking about myself instead of you, and that's not right. You're my father. You deserve respect. I sipped my coffee. What changed? What? What changed your mind? 3 weeks ago you wanted me in assisted living. Now you're apologizing. What happened? He glanced at Victoria. I just realized I was wrong. Or you realized I'm not as easy to manipulate as you thought. Silence. Dad, Tyler, I appreciate the apology. I do, but it doesn't change anything. You've shown me who you are. Both of you have. And I've made my decisions accordingly. Victoria leaned forward. What decisions? About my estate. About my plans. About who gets what when I'm gone. Daniel, we're not trying to. Yes, you are. You've been trying for 2 years, and I'm telling you now, you're going to be disappointed. Tyler's jaw tightened. So that's it? You're cutting us out? I'm making sure the right people are taken care of. The right people? You mean that nephew? Evan? I didn't answer. Dad, he's not even close to you. He barely visits. We're your family. Family is supposed to care about you when you're alive, not just when you're passing. You failed that test. He stood up. You know what? Fine. Do whatever you want. But don't expect me to stick around and watch you be a bitter old man. I don't expect anything from you anymore, Tyler. That's the point. He grabbed his jacket and walked out. The door slammed behind him. Victoria sat there, hands folded in her lap, staring at nothing. You're really going to do this, she said quietly. You're really going to punish us. I'm not punishing you. I'm just not rewarding you. That's the same thing. No. Punishment would be vindictive. This is just justice. She looked at me. When did you become so cold? When did you become so calculating? She didn't have an answer for that. That night I called Janet. They know, I said. Or they suspect. Either way, they know something's changed. Are you safe? Yes. They're not going to hurt me. They're just going to wait and hope I change my mind. Will you? No. Then everything is in order. The trust is sealed. The documents are filed. There's nothing they can do. Thank you. Mr. Crowley, for what it's worth, I think you made the right choice. After I hung up, I went to my desk and pulled out the fake documents one more time, looked at them. They were my final gift to Tyler and Victoria. Hope, false hope, the kind that would make the truth hurt even more. I put them back in the drawer and went to bed. For the first time in 3 years, I felt at peace. And 2 months later, I had another heart episode, a real one this time, bad enough that Victoria called an ambulance. They took me to the hospital, ran tests, adjusted my medication, and sent me home with warnings about stress and rest. The cardiologist pulled Victoria aside. I heard him through the curtain. Mrs. Crowley, your husband's heart is deteriorating. The arrhythmia is getting worse. He needs to avoid stress, stay calm, and follow his medication schedule precisely. How long does he have? A pause. That's impossible to say. Could be months. Could be years. But his condition is progressive. I understand. She came back to my bed with a face full of practiced concern. You heard? I heard. We need to be more careful. We? I need to take better care of you. I laughed. Actually laughed. Now? After everything? Now you want to take care of me? Daniel, Victoria, save it. We both know what you're waiting for. But here's the thing. I might surprise you. I might live for another 10 years. What then? She didn't answer. When we got home, I went straight to my room, pulled out my laptop, sent Evan an email from an account Victoria didn't know about. Evan, the documents in your safe deposit box are important. When the time comes, don't hesitate, don't question. Just do what they say. You're going to be confused, maybe upset. But trust me, everything I did for a reason. Love, Uncle Daniel. He replied an hour later. Uncle Daniel, you're scaring me. Is everything okay? I didn't respond. The next 3 months were quiet. Tyler didn't visit. Victoria was polite but distant. We lived like roommates in a home that felt less like mine with every passing day. But it was still mine. The deed said so. The trust said so. The law said so. One morning in September, Victoria came into my room. Daniel, Tyler wants to know if we can update some estate documents with an attorney, just to make sure everything is official. Everything is already official. He just wants to make sure. Tell him no. Daniel. Victoria, I said no. The documents are filed. The decisions are made. Nothing is changing. She left without another word. That night, I heard her on the phone with Tyler again. Their voices were low, but I caught enough. He won't budge. I know. We just have to wait. How much longer can it be? How much longer, indeed? I went to bed that night thinking about endings, about justice, about the look on their faces when they finally found those fake documents and thought they'd won, and then the look on their faces when they found out the truth. I thought about Evan getting the call from Janet's office. Mr. Crowley, your uncle left you everything. His confusion, his shock, his eventual understanding that someone had actually cared about him, actually valued him, actually believed he deserved a future. I thought about Tyler's face when he realized the apartment was gone. The money was gone. Everything he'd counted on, everything he'd waited for, vanished into thin air. And Victoria. Victoria would get her life insurance payout. $500,000, enough to grieve comfortably, enough that she couldn't claim I'd left her with nothing, but not enough to make up for losing a $4 million apartment and everything that went with it. I smiled in the darkness. Justice was coming, slow but certain, inevitable, and I was going to be here to see the start of it. 3 weeks later, Victoria scheduled another family meeting. She said it was important. She said Tyler had something he wanted to say. They arrived together on a Tuesday evening. Tyler looked serious. Victoria looked nervous. We sat down in the living room. Dad, we've been talking, Tyler started, and we think it's time to see a lawyer, together, all three of us, to make sure your estate is properly organized. My estate is organized. We don't know that. We need to see the documents. No. Dad, this is reasonable. We're your family. We have a right to know. You have no rights to my private documents. Victoria spoke up. Daniel, we're just trying to protect you. What if something's wrong? What if you made a mistake? I didn't make a mistake. How do you know? Tyler pressed. Have you even looked at them recently? Do you remember what you signed? I stood up. Get out. Dad, I said get out. Both of you. This is my home, my life, my decision, and I'm telling you for the last time, you don't get to control this. You don't get to manipulate this. You don't get to wait for me to fade so you can swoop in and take what you think you're owed. We're not... Yes, you are. You've been doing it for 3 years, and I've been awake for all of it. Every party, every conversation, every time you looked at this apartment like it was already yours. I heard it, I saw it, and I made my choices. Tyler's face went red. Then tell us. Tell us what you decided. No, you'll find out when the time comes, and not a moment before. He stepped toward me. You bitter old fool. You're going to regret this. Tyler. Victoria grabbed his arm. No, Mom. He's being unreasonable. Stubborn. He's not thinking clearly. I laughed. I've never thought more clearly in my life. Then prove it. Show us the documents. Get out. They stood there for a long moment. Then Victoria pulled Tyler toward the door. "Come on, let's go." "This isn't over," Tyler said as they left. "Yes," I replied quietly. "It is?" The door closed. I heard their footsteps in the hallway, heard them arguing all the way to the elevator. Then silence. I went to my desk, pulled out the fake documents, looked at them one more time. They showed everything Tyler wanted, everything he expected, everything he would never actually get. I put them back and smiled. The game was almost over. The final move was in place. All that was left was to wait. And unlike them, I was good at waiting, because I knew what was coming.